Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to the next movie review. And today I want to review a film that I think is very underrated, and let alone a performance from an actor which I've liked him in a few films, but I think this is one of his most underrated performances. I think it's just this absolute more badass from four. So. And I would say, probably say this is my favorite film from actor Christian Bale. And that is of the 2002 film called Equilibrium. Equilibrium is a science fiction action film, came out in 2002, and I say this is a very underrated movie. And like I said, I think it's pretty much my favorite film from Christian Bale. Now, Christian Bale, a lot of people probably know him from playing Bruce Wayne, Batman from Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight series. Personally, I'm not a fan of that series, and I'm not big on his Batman either. Especially when he does the dumb voice, disguising his voice. I'm like, where's the detonator? Mate, I'm like, if Michael Keaton can talk normal, even as Batman, why go through the whole stupid voice? Why? Because no one would recognize him? Is it Michael Keaton or Val Kilmer, even George Clooney, were talking normally, didn't have to disguise, no voice anywhere. So, I never was a fan of his Christopher Nolan's Batman series, except for Heath Ledger as the Joker. So, but now I'm better on Christian Bale. I mean, other films, Christian Bale. I remember seeing when he was a kid in Steven Spielberg's Empire Under the Sun with him and John Malkovich, and I liked him as Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. Being being over the top. Especially when the famous scene where he kills Jared Leto, listening to Huey Lewis. Hey Paul. Yeah. So I liked him. I liked him in American Psycho. I haven't seen other films like he did, like Rescue Dawn. Um, especially 2002. He also did a film that came out the same before this in 2002. He did a film called Rain of Fire. That was with him and Matthew McConaughey and Gerard Butler. It was a film. It was a film where in London, all these dragons in the modern world, where these dragons are attacking London, and I wasn't really fond of Rain and Fire. There was some decent practical stuff though. I mean, I like Matthew McConaughey and Gerard Butler, but I just thought that Rain of Fire, I thought it just came off as mediocre. It's sad to say. And I wasn't really particular of the director either. Rob Bowman. So, but so I wasn't really big on Rain of Fire. But that's why all that. I just think this is what. Oh, that's right. Christian Bale. More. I will say. He was fun. He was fun as Gore the God Butcher in Thor: Love and Thunder. He was pretty much the best part. Um, but they cut a lot of his stuff out, and just and of course I don't like Thor: Love and Thunder. So. But but I also this is why I say it's my favorite film from Christian Bale. So, but and the film was directed by Kurt Wimmer, which I would say, of course, would say this is his best film, but the films he's only directed only a few other films. He directed a film called One Tough Bastard, and then he later after this he go on to direct Ultraviolet, which I was not a fan of. And then 2020, he directed the remake of Children of the Corn. Yeah, the 2020 remake of Children of the Corn. And so, after that, he hasn't done much directing. He's mostly done. As a wrote more than directing. I mean, he wrote films on Street Kings, which I like. I like Street Kings with Keanu Reeves. Law Abiding Citizen, another one that I like with Jamie Foxx and Gerard Butler. He wrote on the Total Recall remake, and then the Point Break remake, which both sucked. And then he oh well he did write and produce on The Beekeeper, which the 2024 action film with Jason Statham, which I like. That's one of the recent best ones that Jason Statham has done. And he's going to also to produce on the sequel of The Beekeeper too. So I look forward to that one. But yeah, I wasn't Ultraviolet. I think he had problems with that film, and so and I think it was studio interference, whatever it is. But Ultraviolet, regardless, though, I wasn't big on Ultraviolet. But Equilibrium, when it came out, it didn't do that well. Has a 40% Rotten Tomatoes, but it does have a high rating in IMDb. It has a 7.3 in IMDb, really enough. So at least people on IMDb thought this was a good movie. But didn't do well in theaters though. So like a budget of like 20 million, made like 5 million. So it didn't really do that well. Especially this is of course this is produced by Dimension Films, which sadly I think are no longer around no more. So, but I just think this film could have been appreciated a bit more. You know, well, just does this say it has a cult following over the years, which the people do like it, but it doesn't get talked about as enough though. So. And also with producers with Kurt Wimmer, this one of the producers is one of the producers of this film is Jan de Bont. Jan de Bont, who directed Speed, Twister, of course Speed 2 though, but and The Haunting. But Jan de Bont, okay, yeah, the director of Speed and Twister, cool. He's producing this film. The score by Klaus Bedelt, which Klaus Bedelt, he did the score for Pirates of the Caribbean and Poseidon and a couple of other ones as well. And the film is not that long of a movie. It's about an hour and 47 minutes, I think. And I think it's not that long of a movie, and it wasn't felt boring to me. So in this, it of course takes place in a future, of course, and when World War III broke out, so they said they could not ever survive a fourth one, so they created this drug to suppress human emotions, right? You know, suppress your emotions and basically you can become more stone cold and you can be more obedient, you know. And there's it's a task force called people people who show emotions, they're called sense offenders. You know, if they can feel, right? And so, this council is governed by this council called Father, which is played by Sean. The Father is played by Sean Pertwee. Sean Pertwee, who later played Alfred in the TV show of Gotham. I remember when he was in the films Soldier and Event Horizon, and even Dog Soldiers. So I like Sean. Okay, Sean Pertwee. Okay, he's the father, and so, and there's this police task force, and which Christian Bale is one of them. And I like the fact that this whole world is kind of like divined of colors and stuff, right? Mostly like gray or black, right? Especially the people wear the clothes they wear. It's like no colors at all. And even the stuff like that are banned, like movies or other type of agriculture, or like when you find like something that'll give you emotions, right? For instance, like the picture of the painting of Mona Lisa, right? They get caught and they quickly just without motion they just burn the Mona Lisa picture, because anything like pop stuff or any of that culture stuff can prevent human emotions, burn it all. So I was like, okay. So, like, stuff like that, like even the picture of the painting of the Mona Lisa, burn it. And Christian Bale, he's part of this task force, and his partner is played by Sean Bean. Of course, it's always like a running joke, you know. Every time you see Sean Bean, he's gonna die, right? So he's his partner, um, and Christian Bale, he also has a kid, son. I think also a daughter too, and his wife has died because she too came like a sense of fear. She felt emotions and she died, and so. And one thing I thought was pretty cool about the fighting style of this called Gun Kanta. It's something that that director Kurt Wimmer came up with when he said, I think he said he invented it in his backyard. It's like with fighting style, when you're fighting, if you're trying to fight with fists or with the other stuff, you know, but you're just fighting with guns though. Like how I'm going to describe this is kind of probably sounds shitty though, but if you want, that's why I can't show footage because YouTube is so sensitive and probably get blocked for it. So, but how I'm going to describe this is probably going to sound stupid though, but it's like how the way Christian Bale does when he shoots, he's like this, or I don't know. I'm doing a shitty job though, but if you watch the film, you'll get what I'm talking about. And I like this style. You know, to me, I think that's kind of like an original idea, and you don't see that kind of style though. I mean, I wish I could see that style more in other action films. Because action films nowadays, you see one action scene, you see it all. But I thought this Gun Kanta was different in a good way, right? I thought it was kind of refreshing and new and different, and probably say original, you know. So I like this style of gun style. You just go. Even the stuff when Christian Bale does it, it's very badass looking. And let's live with we see when the first action sequence, and it was just really well handled. And I would say that I didn't see not much of shaky cam at all. So that was nice. I understood what was going on. And one thing to listen to with Sean Bean, you know, he was able to pull on Christian Bale because he's reading a book and he's able to pull the gun from behind, and Christian Bale's telling him not to do it though, but Christian Bale shoots him through the book and kills him. And he had also kind of like a lover and it's played by Emily Watson. Emily Watson, she's been in quite a few films. I remember she was in Red Dragon, the prequel to The Silence of the Lambs, where she was blind. I remember she was also in War Horse, and Christian Bale is asking her questions, and from this moment on, you know, we see Christian Bale, him starting to change. His emotions are changing. You know, he's feeling, which skipping to the part of the third act where he just after when Emily Watson, when she gets burned alive, when he goes outside the precinct where the building was, he just breaks down and he just lost it. You know, he goes and breaks down. He's crying. He's so upset. You know, and I buy that. You know, he was someone who has suppressed his emotion for so long. But thing is, though, he hasn't been taking his because he missed taking one of his vials to suppress his emotions, right? And that's when he starts feeling it though, and his son turns out he was hiding it from him, and so. But the whole point after that, when he just lost and he just let all of his emotions out, it's just like, man, you know. And so. And after all that, we see with this raid, and like just like how whether he finds his room was full of colors. We hear Beethoven playing, I think it was Beethoven playing, yeah. And we see like this group of people were more of showing his emotions, like because they think he's the one that's gonna be leading the resistance, right? So I like the scene where they're about to be killed, and Christian Bale says that he wants to do something, but one of the persons on the line of fire, he's like this. Basically telling him you're the one who's going to do the being change in this world. And then one thing, listener, when he finds the resistance, it's led by William Fichtner. Now, William Fichtner, he's another actor I'm not really big on, but I can tolerate him in this film. I can. I'm not really big on the actor. I mean, he's all the bit in films. Speaking with Dark Knight, he was in the opening bank robbery scene in the Dark Knight, right? Where Heath Ledger puts a canister in his mouth. It's like, whatever kill you, it only makes you stranger. And he was also in, of course, the shitty 2014 Michael Bay produced Ninja Turtles film, and he was also in The Longest Yard with Adam Sandler. He's been in many movies though, but I just not really was big on the actor though. But here I can tolerate him. He wasn't that bad, I would say. And they have a plan where, hey, let's pretend you captured us. We'll be put in the. Supposedly we're gonna die though, but you're gonna help us to lead us to change the world, basically. And one thing leads to another, just like towards now. Basically, the best action part of the movie was the third act, where this is where he's dressed in all white and he's taking all the guards with the gun contest stuff, which I thought was really badass looking. And all the guards, I like how the costumes are. Like all the guards are dressed like in these long black leather trench coats, for their head protection. It's like they're wearing motorcycle helmets, right? And he's shooting, and he rolls a couple of one of those the things the clips you put into the gun, but they have a round bottom. He throws them down the hall, and he's just shooting. He's doing flips, while he's doing flips, and that was a very well had. I really enjoyed that. That was a badass action scene there. And then it comes to when people with when he goes to the office with people with swords, he's slicing, dicing, and also one of the bad guys turns out is also his new partner, played by Taye Diggs. He was after when Sean Bean died. He became his new partner, but he kind of wanted to be more than his partner. He wanted to be a superior officer to Christian Bale, and he's the one monitoring his moves and stuff, right? And Taye Diggs, I mean, I think he was not bad here. He was not bad, but when he's in the office of the head honcho, who's using father as a ruse, right? And before I get to the head honcho, with Taye Diggs, he takes his sword, and just Christian Bale just cuts him, and we see he just literally just sliced his face off. I'm like, damn, he goes and slices the front of his face off. Maybe there's some CGI added. Of course, there is some CG added into this though, but I don't think for 2002 it was not that bad looking, but it's obvious when you see it though. But not all of the CGI. There's some stunts were done practical, and there's some practical blood in there and such. And so then talking with the head honcho, the guy is played by Agnes. Agnes Macfadyen. This is the guy who he was in Mel Gibson's film Braveheart, but I remember him more because he played Jeff in Saw 3. In Saw 3, the one of the guys with the captors named Jeff, which he wanted revenge on the guy who killed his son. Right, he goes through the series of tests, like the naked woman in the freezer, or he saved the judge from being drowned in pig guts, and the guy who killed his son, the rack, where each one of his limbs are getting twisted, and his head too, and he's like, no, I forgive him. And then by the end, he kills Tobin Bell, so he kills Jigsaw himself with that power saw. Shh, I forgive you. Yeah, so that's Angus Macfadyen. So from Jeff from Saw 3. So he's like the pretty much the main bad guy, the head honcho, right? And so, and I like the how way they're fighting. Like it's like trying to fight with fists though, but with guns though, right? They're doing this. Like I know I'm doing a shitty job, though, like I said, just like how the way they're doing it, right? Trying to get a clear target. And then it's like, are you willing to pay for this? And he's like, Christian Bale's like, I gladly pay it. Shoots him. And then after that, he goes and where the broadcasting of the Sean Pertwee's father, right? Because the father, he's been it's all a ruse because he's been dead for years, and so he goes in and just shoots all the TV broadcasting everywhere, right? And then just leads to the resistance, right? We see the resistance blowing up those drug facilities so that people can feel the emotions, right? And also the rebels, they're shooting more of the guards. And we see Christian Bale, he's just looking out the window and he's just there smiling. So yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed this film. I think this is a very underrated action science sci-fi film. And it did get some praise marks. I mean, of course, this one right here by WBAI called Forget the Matrix. This movie will blow you away. Now, of course, people are thinking about when people think of the Matrix, right? I mean, I can understand though, but I mean, I like the Matrix movies except for the fourth one that came out in 2021. That sucked though, but I like the original trilogy though. I mean, the people don't care for the sequels like Reloaded and Revelations, right? But I like the sequels. I don't think, yeah, there's some flaws in it though, but overall, I enjoyed the Matrix trilogy. I'll have to review those films further down in the future though, right? Because I like the Matrix movies. The first one I like, but I think the sequels they get a little more hated than usual though. But I like the sequels. I like Reloaded and I like Revelations. But I can understand though the the whole Matrix thing. And here from Richard Roeper from Ebert and Robert, calls it spectacular gun battles and fight scenes, which I completely agree with because I enjoy the gun battles. I thought it was well handled, some badassery with the whole gun concept, or even just the site Ebert and Robert just gives it 2 thumbs up now. So, but I enjoy this film. That's why I say it's my favorite film from Christian Bale. Just hearing him talk normally, right? I mean, which I can see that when he was just doing that as Batman though. But I mean, come on, disguising your voice so no one recognizes you. I mean, come on, Michael Keaton, he was talking normal. Same with Val Kilmer, even George Clooney. I mean, if they would talk normally, I'm sure probably no one would recognize him because they're wearing the bat suit, though, right? Same thing with Clark Kent, right? As Superman, right? Oh, no one recognizes him because he puts on the glasses, right? No one recognizes him because he's Superman without the glasses. Oh, Clark Kent, Superman. I never understood the whole Christian Bale Batman voice. I just never understood it. To me, it was silly and stupid. Cancer Man. Where is the detonator? Where is he? Yeah, don't strain your voice, please. So yeah, but yeah, that's why I was like, I just say it. I definitely like for Christian Bale. I definitely like this more than the Dark Knight trilogy. I know. So, but I enjoy this one. I think this is an underrated film. I would say so in my opinion, though. But not too many people talk about this film, despite having a high rating on IMDb. A lot of people don't talk about this film, and that's a shame, As for features, it does have 2 commentaries. One with the director by himself, and then the other one with the director and producer Lucas Foster, who was also one of the co-producers along with Jan de Bont. And then has another one called Finding Equilibrium. Pretty much to say it's like a featurette of making of the movie, I would say. But overall, yeah, Equilibrium. I did enjoy this. I do enjoy this film. That's why I say it's my favorite Christian Bale film. I enjoy the whole gun content aspect. I thought that was kind of an original idea, refreshing looking. I thought was well handled fight sequences. I wish they could use that concept a little bit more in other films I would see, because hey, they're using the concept for equilibrium. That's cool to see, but not too many action films don't do that, I guess. So because action films nowadays it just looks like same old thing, you know. Although I do like some of the action scenes in newer films sometimes, but just use a different style, you know, kind of change up a bit, you know. But overall, though, yeah, I think Christian Bale did a really good job. Supporting characters like Emily Watson, Angus Macfadyen, Sean Bean, of course. Um, him dying, of course. It was always like, it's expected. Because it's always like a running joke, you know, with him. He always does die in every movie. William Fichtner, I could tolerate him, you know. I think one of the cast members was people would not recognize though. Dominic Purcell was in this, you know, to play Dracula from um, Blade Trinity, which that was not good though, but more from the show Prison Break and then Legends of Tomorrow. I think he had a small role in this as well. But overall though, I do enjoy Equilibrium. I think it's a very underrated movie. So, and I wish Kurt Wimmer would have directed more movies like this though. But I don't think that Ultraviolet was the one that should not have killed his career in directing. I mean, later he go and direct the shitty remake of Children of the Corn. Really, the guy who directed excellent fight sequences, it goes on to direct a shitty remake of Children of the Corn in 2020. Really, could do a whole lot better than that. You know, come on. Ultraviolet was not that great either though. But to give the guy another chance to direct another movie like this, so come on. But other than that, though, I still say it's a very solid film, underrated movie, though. So that's my review on Equilibrium. Definitely give this a thumbs up for myself. Definitely. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more movie reviews, etc. And we'll see you next time. Later.